Okay, kids, it's Mr. Willis. I'm gonna finish what we didn't finish for the chapter, and I'm not gonna show you these videos right now. I'm gonna let Matt, our sub, show you the videos of each of these slides after I'm done with this. So this little video you're watching here is only going to take about 10 minutes, and I'm just going to briefly talk about all this stuff, and then I'm going to let Matt show you the videos from the PowerPoint. Isn't that exciting? Yes, it is. That's the correct answer. Yes, sir. That's what you say. Okay, so hold on just a minute. Are you holding on? Because if you're not holding on, you're not doing it right. I forgot to plug in the remote control mouse. Ah! I don't know if you could even see that. That was me just to prove to you I'm really here. Okay, so we talked about echolocation last time, and if you remember, this is like a dolphin, and they vibrate their little air sacs, which are located right there, and the sound waves go through their melon, which is a big organ that contains a bunch of jelly that magnifies the sound waves, and they usually make little clicking sounds, and the sounds will bounce off things and come back to them. Their lower jaw picks up the sound. It conducts the sound to the inner ear, and the dolphin can make sense of its surroundings, can actually draw a picture in its brain. That's the brain. The dolphin can draw a picture in its brain of all of its surroundings based on the way these clicks come back. And it seems almost impossible to you and me, but it's actually a common thing, this echolocation. Bats do it really well, and bats can fly through a maze of caves that are completely dark just by using echolocation, and navigate pretty well. So dolphins can do it too, and in the water. Sometimes it's muddy, sometimes it's dark, can't always see. So echolocation is a big part of their movements. And as it turns out, they think they might communicate with one another through echolocation. By making clicks, they can kind of draw pictures in each other's minds of whatever they want to talk about. So there's some interesting research on that. If you want to ask me about that at some other time, I can go into detail. Maybe the next time we have class together, I'll talk a little more about that. It's kind of involved, and I don't want to go into it here. But anyway, here is a sperm whale, and a sperm whale has a huge, what they call a spermaceti organ. See that thing right there? And it's the melon. It's the melon for the sperm whale. So it makes vibrations back here. The vibrations run through the spermaceti organ, and the vibrations are magnified and condensed and come out the front of the whale. And that's why they call it a sperm whale, because old whalers used to shove a spear into the heads of these sperm whales, and all that gooey, milky stuff inside that spermaceti organ would come out, and it looked like sperm. And so the sailors thought it was a whale with a bunch of sperm in its head, so they called it a sperm whale. It's terrible, isn't it? They killed all those whales. Whale, what are you going to do? That's a bad joke, wasn't it? Anyway, I cracked myself up. Phew. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the sperm whales are pretty amazing with the sounds they can make. There's some research that shows that sperm whales can actually kill or incapacitate a squid by making loud enough sounds. And so the sound waves can hit the squid and knock it out. So it must be some pretty loud sound waves. Sperm whale. Sperm whales dive real deep too. They're the deepest divers of all the whales. They can go down thousands and thousands of feet. This is a dolphin and a group of dolphins working together. The next part of the book talks about these cetaceans and their interactions with one another and how they can work together in groups. A group of dolphins is called a pod. And I think this is a video showing how the dolphins will corral up a bunch of fish, will surround a bunch of fish, a school of fish, and make bubbles and stuff and shake their tails and get the fish to jump out of the water, and they'll catch the fish in their mouths. They're pretty smart creatures. So that's a good video that Matt can show you there of dolphin group behavior, which I think the next part of the book talks about how these animals will work together. Marine mammals are well known for their vocalizations, such as the barking of sea lions and the songs of the humpback whale. You want me to do those for you? The barking of sea lions sounds like harm, harm, harm. Isn't that good? And the sounds of a humpback whale go Hey, I just had a humpback whale email me asking for a date. They were watching on YouTube. Do you like those noises? So anyway, they make all these kinds of vocalizations where they can hear, and the whale vocalizations are can really all of their vocalizations, but the whale vocalizations are the most studied. They can travel really long distances through the water, hundreds of miles, and they say for some whales, thousands of miles, that these sounds can travel. Because I don't know if you remember from physics, which you probably don't because you don't study enough, but anyway, sound travels better through water than through air. Many, many times better. Just drop a coin under the next time you're in a pool, and you'll probably hear it hit the bottom of the pool, even though it's not falling very quickly, because sound travels better through water. But anyway, so whales can communicate with one another over huge areas of the sea, and so the vocalizations of whales have been studied. The humpback whales, especially, they think they have a language that scientists are trying to understand. That's what you could do for a living. You could try and understand whale language, and you'd probably win a Nobel Prize if you could crack their language. And then you could communicate with whales. You know, I kind of already can do that. I might have been the first one to do that. You want me to you want to hear me tell a whale to leave me alone? It goes like this. So anyway, that was leave me alone. It's kind of a slow language. Mating, communication, distinguishing individuals. Oh, marine mammals also play with one another, and I think these two videos show. I think there's some whale songs, and one of the videos is playing. They're both on YouTube, so I'll let Matt show you those. Hey, there's some dolphins playing. They got things on their head, and the trainer is training them. Hey, if you want to see a real disturbing video, rent the video Blackfish. It talks about the SeaWorld and the killer whales in SeaWorld, and they're trying to train them. and one of them starts eating the trainers. It's very interesting, actually. And so one of y'all has checked it out and won't return it, and you know how it goes. You think you don't really care about anyone else, so you just check things out and never return them because you don't care if anyone else watches. You only care about yourself. So I don't know which one of you has it, but somebody's got it out. But anyway, that's a good one to watch. If you can't check it out from me, get it on Netflix. I think you can get it on Netflix or some other video source. Oh, this is called breaching. What this whale is doing is jumping out of the water. Many species of marine mammals are known to jump out of the water and crash back into the water on their backs. This is known as breaching. The reasons for this behavior may be removing parasites, a warning signal, to avoid suitors, or to have fun. So, who knows why they do it? They can't talk to most of us, and I just don't have the time to ask them why they're doing this. But anyway, they jump out of the water and crash back down. It's very exciting. This video is a very exciting breaching video that I'll let Matt Barrow show you. So it comes up and it goes down and there's crashes and there's music. Da 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 da. That's what they say when they do it. When they hit the ground. And in the reading, if you do your reading, which you should, because you're going to be tested over it. But anyway, it talks about all of these mammal behaviors. Members of a pod, that's a group of whales, will come to help an injured individual. So if there's an injured individual, an injured whale, like a dolphin got hit by a shark or something like that, some researchers saw, and the dolphin couldn't swim because it had a broken fin, and the other dolphins picked it up and carried it to the surface so it could breathe. You know, all of these mammals have to breathe air. They don't have gills, they have lungs. So they have that little nostril on the top of their head, and all the other dolphins know that if a dolphin can't rise, so they went. I saw one video, and I don't have it here, but of dolphins carrying an injured dolphin to the surface so that they could breathe, which is kind of interesting. So they're pretty smart, and they will help each other. And I don't know if that dolphin that was injured lived or if it recovered or what. But anyway, it was interesting. Many whales stick their heads out of the water to see their surroundings. It's called spying behavior. They'll stick their heads up and they'll kind of turn around and kind of see where they are. You know, see if there's land nearby and that sort of thing. That's a pretty cool behavior. Oh, there we go. There's the dolphins will carry an injured individual to the surface to breathe. So that's what I was talking about up here, helping an injured individual. So, I don't know, that's kind of redundant. I need to fix that. Here's like an injured individual, and here's a drawing of a bunch of dolphins around it, caring for it. There's the spying behavior, looking up. And there's actually carrying one of the injured individuals, two dolphins, one on either side. It's kind of like when you carry a football player off the field, you know, and he's limping. That's what they're to. They're carrying the football player off the field. The one that I tackled, and now he's injured. Because I tackled him, see, because I'm real strong. They call me the whale when I'm out there playing. I'm not sure why. Could be my vocalizations. Okay, one mystery of whale behavior is stranding or beaching. Whales will beach themselves. They'll crawl up on the onto the sand and die. Nobody knows why that happens. They have guesses why it happens, but they don't know for sure. Efforts to move them back into the ocean usually don't work. Even if they beach themselves and you move them and you carry them back into the ocean, they'll either just die or they'll beach themselves again. Usually, not always, but 90% of the time it won't work. So sometimes the beaching or stranding has been caused by Navy sonar, which can damage the ears of the whales. So they think that the whales navigate with their inner ears, is where their balance organ is, and that's where we have our balance organ too. If your inner ear stones are off, you get real dizzy. It's called vertigo. And this could probably happen to whales if they damage their ears. They can't. They get dizzy and they can't swim in a straight line, and they'll beach themselves. And it could happen by Navy sonar. Those are Navy ships sending those sonar signals that we studied in Chapter 1. But it could also just happen because of an ear infection that the whale gets, or because the whale gets. You know, some people have vertigo, and nobody knows why they get it. But if whales get it, they might strand themselves. And see, these pods, they have the leader of the pod. And the other whales will follow the leader. So if the leader beaches himself, you can get an entire pod beach themselves. And they've had huge pods of whales. Not just dolphins, but sometimes big whales. You know, 20 or 30 big whales will strand themselves on the beach. Think if that happened on our beach with those right whales. Imagine 30 whales on our beach. That would be crazy. It's very upsetting to some people. Here's some pictures of a bunch of stranded whales. And these people right here trying to get them back in, which is everybody wants to do, because everybody likes whales, except for the people that kill whales. But anyway, people trying to get them back, but like I say, that usually doesn't work. This is an old painting of an old stranded whale. I don't know how old that painting is, but it looks pretty old. So that's my professional opinion. It looks pretty old. But anyway, there's a video right there. There's a video. There's some video on YouTube. I don't think this is it, of them trying to dynamite a blown up whale, a beached whale, and they put a bunch of dynamite on it and blow it up. And they didn't realize, I guess, that when you blow something up, the pieces don't just disappear. They go flying everywhere. And so there were like huge 200-pound chunks of whale blubber that were like landing on cars and hitting people, and I think it caused a lot more damage than it solved. But anyway, you might be able to find that on YouTube. I don't know, Matt. I mean, you might not want to. There might be curse words in it or something. Have the kids go home and do that on their own. Anyway, marine mammals are known for their long migrations. The longest migration is that of the gray whale. 11,000 miles it migrates. They go from the North Atlantic to the South Atlantic, or the North Pacific to the South Pacific. So they can go a lot of miles. They can cover about 115 miles per day. And we think they use the Earth's magnetic field to navigate. So they can feel where north is somehow, and they can go towards it. And we don't know how they do that. But we do know that these, and birds do it too. They've done some studies on birds where they know that there are magnetic particles in the heads of these birds. And if you tape a small magnet onto a bird's head or glue it on or whatever, it totally screws the bird up, and it can't migrate in the right direction. They won't go south for the winter. They'll just kind of fly around in circles. And if you take the magnet off its head, it goes the right way. So we know that they're using the magnetic field of the Earth to navigate, and they've probably done this with whales too. And so they know putting a little magnet on its head screws it up. Of course, you know, if you taped a magnet to my head, I might have trouble getting to work too. And I don't use magnetic fields. I just don't like having magnets taped to my head. But anyway, I think they can, you know how you'd have to fix that in an experiment? You'd have to do a control group. You could tape something to a head of one that is not a magnet, but has the same shape and size and weight of the magnet you tape on the other one's head. So you could rule that it just doesn't like something taped on its head, if that's a good experiment. So anyway, science wins again and outsmarts Mr. Willis. Oh, wait a minute, I'm a science teacher, so I already knew that. I don't know, it's kind of late. I'm in here talking to myself. This is probably what I'll be doing when I'm like 80 years old, but there'll be no students and no video. So anyway, this shows some of these whale migrations and where they go. See these arrows going back and forth? Look at these migrations here. We got gray whales are the black lines, and we got humpback whales are the blue lines. So there's a black line. See the gray whales going there. And the blue line, see the humpback whales going here. More humpback whales over here. So anyway, scientists have studied these migrations and see one coming sort of close to us. That's pretty far offshore right there. So you might have to go really far offshore to find some humpbacks. It looks like. We do have right whales right off of our shore that they come right here to mate, I think. Hey, speaking of mating, for marine mammals they have internal fertilization. The male inserts the penis into the female's vagina. They have a penis that like tucks up in their body and then will come out when it's time to mate. So if you're wondering, say, oh, you go, I've never seen a whale penis. Well, that's what happens. It's up inside their body, and then it comes out when they want to mate. For pinnipeds, those are like the sea lions and seals. The fertilization, they have sex on land. And the male usually has a big harem of females. And I saw this when I was on the Galapagos, and I have some videos showing a harem of females and a male like chasing off other males. You'll have one male and like 12 females, and the male mates with all the females. And then another male will come up and challenge the male for his harem. And if the other male can beat up the first male, he wins the harem and gets to mate with all of them. So usually a male will own a harem for a year or two, and then they can't keep winning fights because they get injured and stuff, and they get smaller and burn a lot of calories defending their harem, and then they eventually get beat up by some bigger pinniped. Some marine mammals use delayed implantation of the fetus. This allows the calf to be born at a time that is best for the survival of the calf. So what happens is the female mates with the male, fertilizes her egg, but the fetus will not be implanted in the uterus and start to grow until the time period that's the best. So they can delay the growth of their baby. And so they probably want to be giving birth at a time when there's plentiful food, when there's lots of fish in the water, and that's seasonal, you know, based on the amount of photosynthesis and the amount of plankton and that sort of thing. So probably in the spring when it gets more sunlight and when the weather warms up, you get a lot of fish reproduction, and that's when you want to have babies if you're a marine mammal. So delayed implantation of the fetus is a strategy they use. Is that a seal? No, that's a sea lion. That big front fin. front fins. Sea lion male that I would say there, and that's his harem. I'm just guessing, but the males are usually bigger. And looks like maybe a male there with his harem. So I think that video is the one. Yeah, that's the one I took in the Galapagos. Matt, you can show him that. It shows a male, and I think another male comes up out of the water, and the big male that owns the harem chases him off. I think that's what it shows in that video. And I don't know, that's like whale sex. I don't know what's going on there. You better read the captions in your book. They look like they really love each other there. They're hugging. And there's 3 of them, so I don't know what's going on there. You might want to read about that. It looks kind of racy. Dirty whale sex. Gestation time varies in marine mammals, normally 11 to 12 months in cetaceans. So that's gestation time, means how long they're pregnant. Calves are born tail first, so they can remain attached to the placenta until the entire body is out and the animal can be forced to the water's surface to take its first breath. So tails come out first and then the head second. That's different than the way people do it. And here's a whale giving birth, and look, there's the tail out. And I have video of a whale birth there, so Matthew can show you those. And at the end of the book, there's just a long list of all the different marine animals that we've learned about, the marine vertebrates, I guess, reptiles, birds, and mammals. So if you know that whole chart, you probably would know a lot, and some other video on whale behavior. So Matthew, show them those videos, and you guys are to read until the end of the book. And don't forget, tomorrow we are going to the Turtle Center on Jekyll Island. So bring your logbooks, and we're going to meet at 1:10. We're going to load the bus up and go over there. And bring your logbooks and tell your teacher, your 5th period teacher, that's what you're going to miss, 5th period tomorrow. And it'll be fun. It's all paid for. So you just enjoy. So Willis is out.